collective here, and it is decided to just focus on all these topics. Just a brief information about artificial intelligence, and then what do you understand by collective intelligence, then AI and CI, then AI enhanced CI, few case studies, and if the time permits and if you are interested, we will have the session question and answer. So as we go by the definition of John Mccarthy, and who is deemed to be the father of artificial intelligence, as you all must be knowing, because each one of you must be having some amount of knowledge about artificial intelligence, because this is getting popular day by day, and it has become obligatory on the part of the research scholars as well as the faculty members.
Your voice is not audible, ma'am.
Is it? But here it is.
You are audible, Chitra.
I'm audible?
It's audible, ma'am. From my end, it's audible.
Thank you.
Just left the meeting and then rejoined again.
Okay. So is it perfect for the participants? Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So let me again share my PPT. Okay. So he's the one who just came out with the terminology called artificial intelligence for the first time in the year, I believe, 1956. And he wanted to conduct a kind of workshop like this, a kind of a brainstorming session, just to ascertain whether the concept of artificial intelligence may be implemented or not. So he wanted to confirm on the theoretical background of artificial intelligence, and hence he decided to organize a kind of brainstorming session by roping in scientists from diversified disciplines, from say mathematics, and then theoretical computer science, and then from biology, sociology, then from information theory, then probability, statistics, then linear algebra. So the prominent scientists from all these disciplines were invited to attend a conference, a brainstorming session, in order to finalize the framework for artificial intelligence. So though the workshop was not very successful as it was expected to be, but still they were able to come out with a framework that this artificial intelligence is a viable paradigm for providing the best solutions for the problems that really require a different kind of computation other than traditional computing. So this personality, John Mccarthy, is also known for his contribution in the development of ALGOL, algorithmic language, and also he has contributed substantially for the different dimensions of developing the concept of artificial intelligence. So as we go further in the line of artificial intelligence, we can define this as science and engineering of making intelligent machines. So this is the precise definition for John Mccarthy, which was coined for the first time. By John Mccarthy in the year 1956, when he decided to prepare a proposal for artificial intelligence. So the whole idea behind his workshop was to finalize the framework for what is the scientific method and what are the engineering principles which are essential for developing or making intelligent systems. So as we go by the definition of Merriam-Webster, it says it's a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior in computers, right? And we know what is natural intelligence, what is biological intelligence, or what is human intelligence. So as we talk, as we think, as we decide, as we analyze, as we perceive, and as we talk, as we comprehend, as we write, the machines must be able to do all these kind of things. Like it must be able to do prediction, and it must be able to have computer vision, and it must be able to handle languages by using natural language processing. I think all of you must have witnessed from the sessions by various experts how this artificial intelligence is being implemented in the diversified application domains. So we just defined this as a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior in computers. We are going to make the machine to behave like a human being in the process of thinking process, or it can be like translating a script from one language to another language, or converting text into audio, and very many. So it is the capability of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. So as we go by this Oxford Living Dictionary, it states that it is a theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perception, that could be done with the support of computer vision, then speech recognition, that we call as natural language processing, decision making, as we call it as classification prediction, and of course translation between the languages. So now let us just see what are the 4 different approaches in artificial intelligence as it was put by Norving and Russell. And they just explored 4 different approaches or dimensions. The first one is it is able to act rationally because it is able to take a decision on its own. So it is able to act rationally, and then it is able to think humanly, as we are able to make decisions by using human intelligence. It's able to apply its artificial intelligence and make decisions. And this is with respect to human being as well as artificial intelligence, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is thinking and acting. So think humanly, think rationally, act humanly, and act rationally. So it is able to think, it is able to construct, or it is able to come out with an analytical function with the support of which all the activities which are possible with human intelligence becomes possible with the support of artificial intelligence models. So the first 2 ideas concern thought process and reasoning, while the other 2 deal with the behavior. Okay, so what is the need? What really triggers us to move from traditional computing to artificial intelligence? What are the charms of artificial intelligence? And what makes us to turn our attention towards artificial intelligence? Point number 1, AI automates repetitive learning and discovery through data. Now, you must be knowing about big data, right? And even the size of the data is growing beyond the size of the big data. So when you have voluminous data, then finding a pattern or finding the common features among the data through human intervention becomes highly infeasible. So on such occasions, we have to rely on the machine, which can easily handle the entire process and does it meticulously. So AI automates repetitive learning and discovery through data. Then AI adds intelligence. It is able to exhibit intelligence as human being can do, which is not possible with traditional computing machines. Then AI adapts through progressive learning algorithms. Now we are talking about progressive learning, and we are talking about incremental learning. Now, suppose when you want to solve a problem with traditional computing, then the power of computation just stops with your definition. But as we talk about artificial intelligence, because it is learning by every process it handles, its intelligence is getting augmented, and hence it becomes a process of progressive learning, which is featured only in artificial intelligence and not in traditional computing methods. Then point number 4, AI analyzes more and deeper data. Like if you just make a human being to sit and visualize, and any human being will not be able to sail through the entire data and then come out with the features, which is viable only with artificial intelligence models. So then AI achieves incredible accuracy. Beyond all the 4 points that we have discussed, the foremost motivating point to use artificial intelligence is if the model is perfect and if the data that you have is a suitable data to be handled by the model, we are blessed with, or we are assured of, incredible accuracy. So these are the charms, or these are the advantages, or these are the drivers which motivate us to move towards artificial intelligence. So this is just a kind of comprehensive view about how we can just put them all together. Now we have learned about different machine learning models. We have learned about deep learning model. Then you just learn about natural language processing models. As we just put them all together in a single space, it is going to look like this, right? So as we talk about symbolic AI paradigms, now it can be categorized into statistical AI paradigms as well as symbolic AI paradigms. Now, I think the previous resource persons must have highlighted that in order to have a comfortable hands-on with artificial intelligence models, it is very important to have prior knowledge or basic knowledge about probability and statistics. So essentially, we have to know the basics, like what is meant by central tendency. Now, what is the implication of computing a mean value or median value, and what does it signify, and how do we try to ascertain the characteristics of a given data by looking into the statistical measures of a given data, and how the probability of occurrence of one event is going to help us to understand the occurrence of yet another event in a given data. So all these things are to be well comprehended, and if that is done, then it is very easy for us to have a kind of cakewalk with respect to artificial intelligence models. So as we talk about this probabilistic models, now the first one that we come across is supervised. I think you must have come across this. This deals with classical machine learning method, where we have to take the data along with the output, then train the model. The models will be able to understand the relationship between the input parameters and the output parameter by going through the features of the data and the expected output, and then it forms an analytical function as y is equal to f of x. So it finds a relationship between y and x. So under this category, we just talk about linear regression, logistic regression, multinomial regression, decision tree, support vector machine, naive classifier, and many more. Then the next one is when we talk about neural network, and under which we have got this CNN, and then we talk about deep learning, then we talk about GAN, right, generative adversarial networks. I think the speakers must have highlighted on all these things. So now we have got all these things, then there is another component, and all these things are being called as general applications. But when you just talk about this narrow application, if it is going to be a kind of model for translation from English to Tamil, or if it is from English to Kannada, in such cases we just call it as narrow application for a specific application, under which we have got this computer vision, natural language processing, speech and audio processing. So this deals with the support of this, you may be able to achieve, you'll be able to recognize the gestures, the feelings or the expressions, or even any kind of you can call it as emotions. Then image recognition, then you can assure machine vision, then machine translation between two different languages, then understanding natural language processing. Suppose if you talk to your Siri in the mobile phone, it is able to recognize whatever that you have said and then replies back. So you have a model which can understand your conversation and then it responds back. And then natural language generation, suppose if I give a text, it must be able to get converted into an audio in a particular language, and we may be able to display or we may be able to play it. So all these things are possible, and then as we move on, all these things put together will help us to have autonomous systems which can work automatically without any intervention from the human being once the models are deployed. So then we just go for embodied intelligence, where we have got distributed artificial intelligence that deals with multi-agent systems, then agent-based modeling and spam intelligence. And let me not go detail into it. And this is just to just give a kind of understanding about how artificial intelligence sprawls around different categories of applications and how it brings everything under the umbrella called artificial intelligence, where you have got distinct classifications as machine learning algorithms, under which you have got supervised, unsupervised, and then CNN, neural network, and then deep learning models, and many more. So now we have moved from artificial intelligence to AI of everything, that is called as AOE in short, and this is AI-driven unprecedented era. So now we do not know what is going to be the future of artificial intelligence. We must have witnessed in English movies, in science fictions, where at one point of time the robo or the machine tries to overtake the human being and it behaves adversely. And I believe the days are not very far off. And suppose as we are going to promote this incremental learning, and if the machines can think on its own, and I mean, days are not very far off where we may be even governed by machines. Anyway, so the global AI mesh just spanning a digital quack driving the knowledge synthesis of everything that you call it as KSE, that stands for knowledge synthesis of everything. Because if you take an artificial intelligence model, it is able to understand your gestures. If you just show a hand and then make a model to work, you can just wink your eyes and make a model to work. You just show your face and you're able to gain access over your mobile phone. It is used as a means of authentication. In the similar way, it is able to synthesize any kind of input that you give, and that is getting converted into a knowledge. So this knowledge synthesis of everything is kind of an inflection point for the humankind. So of course, now it is going out of bound and it is going out of our hands. We have to wait and see what is going to be the future impact of artificial intelligence in the technological arena as well as in the daily walk of ours. So to highlight on this artificial intelligence of everything, AOE, I have just, I am interested to just show you few, instances or case studies which is available. Now here, the first one is Singapore self-driving taxi, right, which was introduced in the year 2016. Now, it is very important for us to realize that we are far behind to just stride along with the developments of artificial intelligence, because all the developed countries have already made their marks, and now we are trying to pick up. So the second one is Baidu, Ask a Doctor, right? It will be able to, give a kind of decision support system for 520 diseases, right? And as it can be done by a doctor. So based upon that, it can refer to the specialist in China. This was done in the year 2015. Then the next one is Telefonica, that is big ML AI that is able to select the startups from the available data. Then Norwegian Telenor AI and Big Data Lab. This is yet another one that focuses on, that is, we are broadening the scope of artificial intelligence. Apart from doing the process of problem solving, it is going to invade many different walks of life, and these are the illustrations. Then deep knowledge ventures like AI votes on investments. This is done in Hong Kong. And GE, General Electronics, survival on software as well as AI in America. So these are the ventures which are being done by the major players in software industry as well as in the production industry. Now the industry is trying to join hands with the artificial intelligence specialists, because they want to be the four players to harness the potential of artificial intelligence for production, for business intelligence, for data analysis, and for problem solving. So with these prospects, it is getting widened further. So as we talk about the applications of artificial intelligence, right, it finds place not limited to healthcare, manufacturing, life sciences, banking, public sector, retail, and these are only indicative. So these AI applications can provide personalized medicine as well as X-ray reading. We have got good number of AI models, right, which can really, which can be used as a personalized assistant in order to give suggestions about our health condition, as well as it can be a kind of monitor and which can prompt our condition to the doctors. So the personal healthcare assistants can act like life coaches who have got flesh and blood, as if we are having a person assistant next to us, reminding us to take our pills, and then prompting us to do our exercises on time, and then eat healthier food. Suppose if I take some junk at this point of time, then it may say that this is not good for you, like you have to take something extra, or you have to take some nutrient factors. So as we talk about this manufacturing, AI can analyze factory IoT data as it streams from the connected equipment to forecast expected load and demand using recurrent network. As we talk about manufacturing, because we know IoT is also a big player in automation, and we can, all of you must be knowing, we will be able to stream data from the IoT sensors, which can be interfaced with the PC, and all those signals can be recorded. So from those data, we can cull out as much of information as possible, which may be useful for forecasting, which may be useful for security measures, which may be useful for widening the business further, and many more. So in all these cases, we use recurrent networks, a specific type of deep learning network that is used with the sequence of data, because as you talk about streaming of data from IoT, we call them as sequence data or sequential data. So in life sciences, this is not an exception. From ensuring drug safety to getting new therapies to market faster, AI technologies can unleash the full potential of data to solve some of the greatest health challenges. So now people are talking about drug design, drug discovery. Now they don't want to prescribe the same medicine for all the patients who are coming with headache or even a kind of ailments of higher order. So they just want to analyze what is their biological construct and what is their DNA structure. And based upon your chemical composition, they try to prescribe a medicine which is exclusively meant for you. The medicines are going to be tailored. So now these kind of ventures are being done with the support of artificial intelligence. So AI technologies can unleash the full potential of data to solve some of our greatest health challenges. So in such case, suppose if I'm having an ailment which is of very low order, then I do not have to take a medicine of say 500 mg, and if I can take just say 100 mg of a pill, that is sufficient for me. So I'm going to restrict the damage that is done to my body by the pill that I'm taking. So banking, it's needless to mention what is the role of artificial intelligence. So AI enhances the speed, precision, and effectiveness of human efforts. And because as we talk about net banking, and now it has become a kind of part of our transaction process, and we don't want to go to the bank, and we want to do everything by sitting at home, or just by using a laptop or a mobile phone, we can do wonders that whatever that you do with banking. So suppose if you want to have a monitor, say for instance a human monitor, just to look into all the transactions, it is highly impossible. Now you have got good number of monitors, like virtual monitors, who sit and then watch what kind of transaction each and every person is doing, and is that transaction is permissible transaction or not, or is it normal or abnormal. So all these things are being done. And suppose if you attempt to do a transaction, a kind of an abnormal transaction which is not within your regular time window, then you will experience that the whatever be the platform for Canara Bank or State Bank of India or whatever, it will prompt that this kind of transaction is not within your normal time frame as well as the amount that we transact. It just gives a prompt. So we are getting a kind of alert to our mobile phone stating that is that you who is doing the transaction. So these kind of activities just cannot be done by a human being sitting with one probably a supercomputer, and then they cannot manage. Necessarily, we have to rely on this artificial intelligence. So AI techniques can be used to identify which transactions are likely to be fraudulent, then adopt fast and accurate credit scoring, because credit scoring is a very important factor when the foreign banks, when they want to issue the credit card to some customer. So when the bank agent wants to have a quick history report about the credit of a particular person, smart. So now every state is working towards this, building smart cities. So without IoT, without artificial intelligence, no one can imagine about smart cities. So this is going to play a major role in transforming smart cities into smarter cities. Then it can support, AI can support national defense with mission readiness and predictive maintenance. Now, in each and every kind of transport medium, they are going to work with respect to this predictive maintenance. So suppose if the railways sector is going to work towards how to maintain or how to manage all the tracks, right, with maximum security, they are working on this predictive maintenance. So this is going to come with a big bang with respect to any kind
Ma'am, your voice is not audible, ma'am.
of we are witnessing, like so in retail marketing, every one of us are able to really witness. And suppose when I just log into my Google account, then I get to see pop investments, which is not same for you and me. And if I'm interested, if had I mean, Googled on some kind of cosmetics or some electronic items, until I decide that I don't want communications, which is being triggered part by this kind of artificial intelligence. So AI provides virtual shopping capabilities that offer personalized recommendations and discuss purchase options with now. Let us focus on collective intelligence. What is meant by collective intelligence? Nowadays we are talking about ICT enabled, and then people started talking about flipped learning, collaborative learning, cooperative learning, and many more. Right? This collaborative learning is again an example for collective intelligence. So each one of us will
It's no audio, David, madam.
intelligence. I mean, was this shown? Yes, yes, same slide. Okay, okay. Clear? Hello.
Ma'am? We are able to see the slide, madam. Audio. But we could not hear the audio, madam. You are not audible, madam.
then it reads the entire content. That's why it is able to give some kind of suggestions. So that kind of information is going to be extracted from your email, my email, and the various events that we do, like visiting various websites. If I'm interested in sports, I just visit all those sports related websites. If I'm interested in movies, then I just visit all those related websites. So each and every event that I do on the web, through internet, they are going to be, each and every activity will be collected by some server, and that is going to act as a very potential data for decision making, for policy making, for broadening the business, or making a strategic move, and many such things. So we call that as business intelligence. So those kind of data will be used by, say, for instance, for a particular company, let us take it as Flipkart, right, for advertisement, or to decide when some kind of discount has to be given and what will be the percentage of discount, and on what kind of items it has to be given. Should it be for the age group of say between 15 and 60, or it should be for the teenagers? So all these decisions are being taken only based on the kind of activity that we perform on the internet. So whatever be the event that we are registering in the internet is going to be collected. So that collective information is going to act as an input for an AI agent. So we can just say that we are entering an era in which software learns from its users, and all of the users are connected. So let us go to the definition of collective intelligence. So it is the capacity of a community to bring together intelligence and knowledge to advance towards a common goal. So all the companies, Amazon, say SpiceJet, or whatever be the type of airline, or whatever be the type of e-commerce platform. So every one of them, they are interested to improve their business. They want to make the best profit out of the business. So whoever is going to use this collective intelligence may have a common goal towards which the data will be collected and they will be harnessed for the best usage. So a set of capacities is required for understanding, reflection, decision making, and taking action of a restricted work group resulting from the interaction between its members, and implemented to face a given present or future complex situation. Now let us not get baffled by this definition. And for instance, because I'm interested in artificial intelligence, I'm going to develop a blog about artificial intelligence. I give a lot of information. Likewise, say each one of you, you may be creating one blog and you give your own information. When there is someone who is going to search for about the definition of artificial intelligence, right? It is able to, prioritize. It is able to find which will be the fitting answer to be given for the question that is given as the question tag in the search bar. So there are a lot of information available. It collects the information, provided all those information will be, all the information should be as relevant as possible to the question being asked. So as we further our definition, it is the intelligence that is distributed everywhere and constantly valued, coordinated in real time, that leads to an effective mobilization of skills. So as we talk about this everywhere, real-time mobilization, let us expand further on it. So collective intelligence is not reserved for a certain part of a population, example, decision makers, or for a particular department. It is found at all levels of the company, even at home. See now, the kind of intelligence that is going to be culled out, that is going to be harnessed from the available data is not restricted to a specific domain. Suppose if it is going to be asked by a student, right, in a different perspective, it is going to be useful. If it is for a researcher, again, it is going to be useful. So the boundary of this collective intelligence is not restricted. It all depends what is that you want and in what form do you want it. So the valuation, it must be emphasized and and that should be put forward, because whenever we use this collective intelligence, that should help us to get the best results out of it. So you have to have a mechanism like that should be evaluated in the proper sense. So real-time CI is something that we experience in the real world, like whatever that you get out of Wikipedia. So mobilization of skills, intelligence calls on the talents of each individual. See now, The collective intelligence need not be textual, right? Suppose if I'm going to have some kind of diagrams. Now we get to see when you search for some topic, right? At times you get some images, at times you get some audio, at times you get some text. So it is just a combination of data, right? You just have diversified set of data representing the same topic. So it is mobilization of skills. So collective intelligence is determined by the first component consists of 3 elements: understanding, collective reflection, and collective decision making. So the first component of the first one refers to a common representation of a task. So what is a task that to be done by the AI agent to work on the collective intelligence? So collective reflection, which refers to learning and therefore to the acquisition of common knowledge, right? So from the understanding, how does the agent is going to throw out the collective knowledge. So collective decision making, which is linked to the fact that the total knowledge of the team members makes the construction of a common decision possible, feasible, and viable. The second component is relational. So this is one of the components or features that allows the collective to forge links and then to collaborate. So now each one has got a common goal, and how are we going to get connected? That is through making our links relational and establishing the relationship between our links, our objectives, our goals. So finally, the third component of collective intelligence is systematic, and it encompasses both the previous 2 components, the first component as well as the second component. So this can result in different ways, like addition, improvement, connection, and other approaches. So it is a result of group of individuals acting together in the way it seems intelligent. So it can be a reflection of intelligence. It need not be in a specific format. CI can be increased through 3 different ways: by addition, by improvement, and then connection. Adding more humans to the system, like hiring more people and getting more inputs, getting more specifications, information. Adding more machines to the system, like purchasing of more equipment. This is like we are providing a platform from where we can just do the kind of processing or data collection. So improving the machines, it can be with respect to hardware or software upgrade. That is, you just improve the collective performance by going on the hardware aspect or improving the human in the system. That is learning new skills and reading a book. Suppose if now every one of us are interested in mastering or excelling in artificial intelligence. So we try to augment our knowledge. We try to widen our knowledge, how best AI can be used in problem solving. The connections, this aspect deals with the human-machine collaboration. Now you have got the knowledge, you have got a platform to work with. How are we going to interconnect them? So the human-machine collaboration, making machines to help human. So this is with respect to spell checking. Right? This is just few examples to make you understand. So making humans to help machine, like writing software programs. So now as we get to witness, when you write something, then all the corrections are being done by this online editor, right? Grammarly is just sitting next to us, and then whatever the kind of operation that we do. Suppose even if you attempt to fill a Google form, right? So Grammarly will be your assistant, just to give suggestions wherever we make some mistakes or where there are some typos. It helps us to correct it. So others, making human to help human, like restructuring the organization, making machines to help machines, software that automate and do tasks for themselves with the support of AI programs or any other kind of program. So CA offers 4 quadrants of opportunities to help decision makers and communities to solve complex problems. So one is understanding the problem. This is what you call as design thinking. Nowadays, all the engineering students are learning about design thinking. So what is meant by design thinking? When we want to solve a problem, first of all, we have to understand what the problem is about. See, now that is being called as, we have to just put ourselves in the shoes of a customer, shoes of a person who is offering the problem line, right? And then we have to understand that. And that is called as empathize, right? As we know what is empathy this is called as empathize. First of all, you have to understand the problem. So once you understand the problem, then you have to define the problem. So understanding the problem will help us to delineate what are the essential components of the problem. Then you try to define the problem. So after you define the problem, you have to come with different alternatives. That is being called as ideate. So you start with empathize, then you define the problem, and then you go for ideate, and after that you have to go for prototyping, and then we evaluate. So normally this is what you call as working on a problem in a team, that we call as design thinking. So this falls in line with those points, like understand the problem. So generate contextualized insights, facts, and information on the dynamics of the situation. So whatever be the problem, we try to understand by putting ourselves in the shoes of the problem definer or the customer who gives us the problem to be solved. And then we have to seek the solution, for which you have to define the problem, and then you have to decide about what are the possible alternatives. And after that, once it is done, that is find novel approaches or tested solutions from elsewhere, or incentives innovators to create new ways of tackling the problem. This is like coming out with the alternatives. Then the next one is learn and adapt. So monitor the implementation of initiatives by involving citizens in generating data, or share knowledge, or to improve the ability of others. Now this is like solving the problem, and for solving the problem by the human being, this is what done by the management of any concern, and they try to bring in the skilled persons and they try to harness the problem solving potential of the team members, and then do it. And once the decision is being done, we have to validate the outcome, and then we just check whether it is perfect or not. So make decisions with or informed by collaborative inputs from the wide range of people and or relevant experts, and that's called as decide and act. So as we talk about this collective intelligence, it is taken by these 4 quadrants: understand the problem, seek solution, learn and adapt, and then decide, as well as act or react. So now let us put together and what is the connection between artificial intelligence and collective intelligence. Artificial and collective intelligence are often used in the same context, but they don't have the same meaning. Why? The reasons are you must be able to understand that artificial intelligence is a kind of a platform through which we provide the solution, and collective intelligence is a viable means through which you can collect data which can be used for problem solving, right? So this collective intelligence will be a facilitator for problem solving with artificial intelligence, and let us see how this is being done. So in fact, this is an example of classical human versus machine dichotomy. Now machine has got its own limitations, and the human beings have got their own limitations. But surprisingly, the advancements in artificial intelligence is going to push human being out of this problem solving, and these are not very far away, where the collective intelligence can be collected by the machines from different domains. Whatever the input that you want to give to the machine will be done by its own. So artificial intelligence is a simulation of human intelligence by machines or software. Basically, machines learn how to recognize a speech or any pattern or any feature or any kind of texture, whatever it is, process the information in the same way human brain does. And this collective intelligence is the intelligence that arises when people join forces, collaborate, work together, and make decisions. And this happens with respect to a knowledge base, or that is created or shared by a group of people who intend to contribute to the knowledge base or knowledge domain. So AI and collective intelligence, how they are going to interact, how they are going to collaborate, and how they are going to complement each other. So this collective intelligence and artificial intelligence should reinforce each other, because this is the domain that is going to give the information, and this artificial intelligence is going to digest the information and do something. So AI can help scale collective intelligence and manage inputs from the citizens, whereas CI can keep AI ethical and human and make sure that it asks the right questions. So now we have to understand this way. This collective intelligence is going to be a feeder for artificial intelligence. Now lots and lots of research is going on about how best this collective intelligence can be integrated into artificial intelligence for better problem solving, because artificial intelligence works on input data. So the accuracy of artificial intelligence models highly rely on the distribution and diversity of the data that you provide for learning as well as testing. So when the knowledge that we collect from a particular domain is going to address the diversity or the distribution of data, and if you try to collect data by keeping in mind how best we can give collective intelligence into the data, there comes a solution where we can integrate artificial intelligence as well as collective intelligence. So inspiring examples of AI-enhanced collective intelligence. There are few instances given, and growth in efficiency and scale of data processing. Like we try to combine and process vast amount of structured and unstructured data that enables quicker responses. Now, as we try to go in for collecting large amount of data, the quality and the context of data matters than the kind of, the quality and the content of the data matters than the quantity of data. So now, as we try to collect as much of information as possible for training a model or to provide the necessary information to the model, right? It is very important that as we scale up with the quantum of data, right? In the similar way, as the size of the data increases, and that should proportionately help us to have quality data that will provide good amount of information for the model to solve a given problem in the best possible way or in the expected way. So combining and processing vast amount of structured and unstructured data to enable quicker responses, then making new causal connections for complex issues. Now, identifying new patterns of relationship between the variables in high-dimensional data set, either to infer causality or make predictions. So now, as we talk about collective intelligence, now that intelligence is that kind of approach, that kind of collective intelligence is going to give a new dimension or new direction to the artificial intelligence, so that it may be able to find out the best possible combinations of features, or it may be able to help the model to understand how best the features available can get interconnected, or how best they can get complemented to each other, and how best you can connect them sequentially or parallelly, and so that we will be able to get good amount of information that helps the model in learning and solving a problem. And the inspiring examples, few more structures, right? The second one is like we try to optimize. Though I have a collection of features, by applying the collective intelligence, I just want to find out which is the best fitting, criteria that I can just put together to get the best solution. Then the next one is like here, as we go by simple classification, I was just making a mention about modeling and visualizing the complexity. And here you have got these dots, and then different kind of features are being represented. If we just go by simple kind of classification, we can just go by just combining all the squares together, hexagons together, and then circles together. Now we try to go for a model where we just want to establish the relationship between this kind of diversified features, and still we arrive at a kind of model. So a modeling is being done, as we can see here, a modeling is being done by combining these features of a given data set. So creating models of entire system to expand our capability for systems thinking. Systems thinking, we just facilitate the system to think on its own. We call it as incremental thinking. We call it as progressive thinking. So multi-stage processing and an individual's role within the collective data. Then increasing the reach and access, reach of and access to a rare knowledge. So now you have got a kind of knowledge domain, out of which we try to collect some amount of information, or we try to extract some information which is not visible at the peripheral, but still we just want to take out. So using the rare knowledge and non-traditional data sources to codify specialized expertise and gain new insights. As we talk about this kind of predictive maintenance, like now all the sectors which have got relevance to predictive maintenance, especially these railways, they are trying to build a model for predictive maintenance. Though they do not have data, they try to transform the human intelligence into data, so that they will be able to build the model. So now increasing the reach of access to the rare knowledge, the knowledge is not available. Now there's a need for transforming the given human knowledge into a data set, which is going to be used for prescriptive maintenance. So all these kind of things are connected with this collective intelligence. So then transformational creativity, expanding the boundaries of the solution normally considered by humans and generating new ideas are helping to surface older ideas. Now, there will be a kind of traditional way of approaching a problem. But when you combine this collective intelligence along with artificial intelligence, definitely it is going to open up a new horizon so that we will be able to understand, then analyze and synthesize the problem in the best possible way. So the solutions will be amazing, better than what you normally expect. So improving interactions between the individuals, right? Now we just try to increase the connection between a different set of data so that harnessing the potential becomes easier. Optimizing individual contribution and facilitating knowledge enhancing between members of the group in the real time, right? How my knowledge sharing is going to be useful for a different machine, where your knowledge that you share in the real time is going to be useful for a common purpose. So this is also going to be one of the challenges for artificial intelligence to explore further, where all these things become a kind of probably the premier IT companies may come out with, doing all these things. They are going to use the collective intelligence and they may come out with a model which does everything in the best possible way, which will be a new branch of artificial intelligence. So I have got a few case studies to be just highlighted. So Citizen Lab is a citizen participation platform that allows local government to reach out to communicate with the communities they serve, right? They just want to have a kind of visualized representation of different groups, and from that they want to come out with a collective knowledge which can be used for decision making, for strategic planning, and then for planning and monitoring and many more. So this is a citizen participation platform that allows local government to reach out to communicate with the local community they are serving. The citizens are invited to submit ideas, prioritize public spending, and respond to the consultations through an online interface. Then results are being sent directly to the policymakers. So now the data is being collected where collective intelligence plays a very important role. Now the collective intelligence is going to be handled, processed by the artificial intelligence model, which may be useful for the policymakers. So the platform fosters connections between the local government and citizens to enable more informed and legitimate decision making. So it is going to be perfect in the best possible way. So now it is just represented by this visualization where each one refers to a local government collecting data from the community and then putting them together. So this may be each kind of response they get. Next one is Map with AI, is a part of digital humanitarian report hosted by Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, where volunteers create maps in regions where this information is missing or changing due to conflict or environmental disaster. So this is like we have the habit of taking our students for village placement program, where we place our students in some villages and then we make them to learn and then understand. So where we just go and then try to, we just invite the local people and we try to understand what are their expectations, what are their priorities, and what are their requirements, and what are their stocks, right? By collecting information from them. We just allow them to talk, and from their deliberations, we have the mechanism of collecting information that becomes a document to be used for furthering the growth or furthering the development of a particular place. So in the similar way, teams where volunteers create maps in regions where this information is missing or changing due to conflict or environmental disaster. So then, for instance, suppose the road is missing, right? If there is no connectivity, if the network has got disrupted, and those things can be identified. So participants from across the world use the images collected by satellite to trace the features such as buildings or roads. Suppose if you just want to measure what is the impact of urbanization in a particular city, probably some 15 years back, it might have been a village. And probably because of the urbanization and developments, it might have got changed into an IT park, or it might got changed into a kind of a habitation, something like we call as community living place. So now they just want to find out what was there. We call that as time series analysis. So what was there previously and what is missing and how it has got transformed. All these things can be studied with the support of AI as well as collective intelligence. These maps help humanitarian agencies to plan mission and response activities that save lives. So AI detected roads and then mapping the world. That is, we try to map what is missing and what is present and what is not present. This is about humanitarian prioritized community task mapping. So we try to collect information from everyone. You take what is done by the satellite, and then you try to cull out the information from this, and then put the humanitarian prioritized community task mapping together. You collect data, offline, and then you process data. Then you harness its essential features, and then you give it to artificial intelligence where the mapping is being done, and whatever be the kind of relationship that you want to extract out of the given data will be done by the artificial intelligence model. So this is data minr, and which is an early warning system that is for disaster management that helps the organization to plan and coordinate their responses to some kind of crisis. So suppose if there is going to be a disaster, because all of us must be knowing, and all the countries have deployed disaster monitoring and mitigation system, which is called as early warning system. It may be for earthquake, it may be for volcano, it may be for say flood, and whatever it is. So it integrates many non-traditional data sources, including updates posted by citizens on social media to monitor how situations unfold in real time and create summaries, and which are sent as alerts. Now, there was a statement like, you don't have to go sit in a place and then see what is happening in that place. Just by, processing the messages being exchanged in Twitter, in Facebook, or in all possible social media, an AI agent will be able to come out with a kind of concluding remark about what is happening in a particular place. So this is how, when there was an outbreak of some pandemic disease, not COVID, and the AI, Google was the first one to came out with a statement that in this particular place there is going to be some disease, because people were kept on asking about what are the symptoms of this particular disease. So because lots and lots of such queries were put into Google, right? When they wanted to look for some results for their search with regard to symptoms, medicines, and many more, then the National Health Agency was able to get information from the Google saying that there is some pandemic, there is some problem, there is outbreak of some disease, epidemic disease. So then immediately they were able to rush without getting any first-hand information from that particular place. So this happens with the support of collective information, intelligence. We just collect the information from all possible sources and then put them in place and try to understand what do all these set of information mean, right? What best can we extract from the available data? So these updates are tailored to the needs of each client. So they contain the information most relevant to helping them and plan and make decisions. Suppose if there is kind of a natural disaster, so it may be, we may need to give information to the hospitals. Then we may have to give information to the voluntary organizations to give some food. And then probably we have to just call the government for a kind of immediate action to rehabilitate people. So we need information to be given to different kind of people. So these things can be done with the support of collective intelligence as well as with AI. That is happening now. So whatever that we are talking is already happening in a small way. And probably as we look back after an year, like this becomes a common phenomenon. So Decision Theater, developed by Arizona State University, it draws on the complementary resources of data, then technology and people to create an interactive simulation experience that supports decision makers to navigate the complex problem. So they just try to visualize, like they try to put themselves right in a kind of virtual situation, and they don't have to go to that particular place. They can just visualize whatever is that based on which decisions can be taken, and this is being powered by collective intelligence supported by artificial intelligence. A combination of big data analysis and high performance computing is used to create detailed model of public policy scenario, right? Whatever be the issue, it may be like urban planning, it may be like creating kind of a new industry, or it may be like creating a technology park, or just converting a kind of barren land into a green car. Whatever it is, we may be able to do that. So the models are then translated into interactive data visualization, which are projected into very large, like massive screen to help the teams of decision makers to explore the impact of intervening at various points. So they are able to do all these things. I think I'm done with my presentation. I thank you for your patience, like for traveling with me despite lots and lots of interruptions. I'm sorry for that, and because certain things are out of our hands, and, it's out of our control. So this networking is one such thing, and I'm sorry that like I got it, disconnected many times, and I thank every one of you for your continued presence. Like